Alrighty, and we're back at it again with the Troublemaker Foods episode 3 with gluten. Gotta love that gluten. That daggone gluten, okay? Alright, so Medical Medium, Cleanse to Heal by Anthony Williams. Check it out. To this day, medical research and science still don't understand why gluten is so disruptive. We're told it's because people have gluten allergies or conditions such as celiac disease. That doesn't explain why so many people are sensitive to gluten, though. Are we even as sensitive to gluten as we hear? Yes, we are. So I'm not crazy. What you won't hear is the true reason why we react to wheat and other sources of gluten. People got to make their money, okay? Think about this. Do you know why any 80-year-olds who have eaten gluten their entire life and never exhibited a single gluten sensitivity symptom? We can probably all think of folks of that generation who feel fine when they eat wheat. Now think about how many people you know, whether children, teens, or people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, or 60s, who stay away from gluten at all costs because of celiac or other problems with this protein substance. One of the most common reasons people avoid gluten is because doctors and health professionals as of today have told them that gluten causes inflammation or even autoimmune disease. This is not a practice of yesterday. It is a recent theory put out there into the world without any actual understanding of how gluten could cause inflammation or why gluten sensitivities often coincide with autoimmune conditions. Here's the truth, okay? Gluten feeds pathogens, just like eggs, just like dairy. That the very viruses that create autoimmune conditions thrive on gluten. That's what causes inflammation. It's not the other way around. With gluten triggering inflammation, that triggers an autoimmune response in the body. It's gluten feeding bugs that lead to inflammation in the body as the autoimmune system tries to eradicate them. Keep in mind that medical research and science still don't know this. There are only two causes of inflammation: physical injury by force or toxic exposure, and pathogenic activity in the body. Pathogens can cause inflammation either by entering organs or tissue, which can cause its own kind of cell injury, or by feeding on certain troublemakers and troublemaker foods in the system and eliminating inflammatory poisons and byproduct. A food such as gluten cannot itself cause inflammation. Instead, it feeds the pathogens that can cause inflammation. This is why so many people, especially from older generations, can eat gluten and not get inflamed. In order for inflammation to occur, they need certain pathogens present in the body to feed on the food. It's pathogens such as viruses, not gluten, that are the true cause of celiac disease. I had a friend who had celiac too. I gotta tell her this. This reality behind autoimmune diagnosis, if she doesn't already know, remains a mysterious to medical research and science. Even our best doctors and practitioners get confused here, explaining countless symptoms and conditions as the body's own immune system attacking itself. When you hear this, know that it really means medical research hasn't gotten to the root of an illness yet. So their blessed explanation is that it's the body's fault. In truth, your body's immune system would never destroy your thyroid, which is the theory behind Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which no proof at all. Your body's immune system would never destroy your skin, which is mistaken theory behind eczema, psoriasis with no proof at all, or acne. And it's not possible for gluten to cause your immune system to react in a way where it attacks your intestinal linings, causing damage, which is a mistaken theory behind celiac disease. It's a pathogen such as a virus that eats gluten and causes the intestinal damage. What your immune system does is go after the pathogens that create autoimmune conditions. The reason gluten comes into play is because it's fuel for pathogens. Gluten feeds the viruses such as the over 60 varieties of EBV that create, for example, fibromyalgia, Hashimoto's, eczema, psoriasis, multiple sclerosis, Lyme disease, PCOS, endometriosis, psoriatic arthritis, lupus, ME/CFS, ALS, and more, which are all classified these days as autoimmune. Well-meaning practitioners go along with the outdated theory that came out of the 1950s of the body attacking itself as an explanation for chronic conditions that science doesn't yet understand. Today, it has this new twist, where the idea is that gluten causes inflammation that confuses the body, spurring a self-attack. This is not advanced information, it's misleading, even if there's no ill will behind it. I've talked before about how gluten feeds the bugs that create symptoms and conditions, and health professionals have already started using this medical medium information in their practices. They're getting results for patients by helping them understand the source of their suffering. That is, gluten is fuel for the pathogens. So when it's in the diet, those viruses and even unproductive bacteria in their system can embed themselves more deeply into organs, damaging cells and advancing autoimmune and other chronic illnesses. When you have any sort of health concern, whether autoimmune or not, removing gluten is one step. The next step is understanding why it's disruptive in your body and plays a role in your condition so you can protect yourself and heal. You may not have pathogens in your body that are readily feeding off gluten right now. You may be able to eat wheat and other sources of gluten and feel okay. That doesn't mean you won't experience symptoms down the road. Everybody carries bugs, and they're in different strains and varieties that take different amounts of time to proliferate. Everybody carries bugs, and they are in different strains and varieties that take different amount of time to proliferate. You could have a mild pathogenic environment brewing in your body that's creating the mildest of symptoms you don't even realize they're a problem. Many people go on a cleanse with no particular health desire besides cleaning house. And only as they're going through it and evaluating afterward, they realize they're feeling better now and were living with more limitations before than they knew. After removing gluten, they find they have more energy, which they didn't expect because they never thought of themselves being sensitive to it. They find they can think better with less brain fog. They find they require less sleep and are free of achiness, oh my God. They are free of achiness that they had learned to ignore. They find that mild swelling or water retention they didn't even realize they had is surprisingly reduced, all because a mild systematic inflammation that had been going undetected as they were living their busy lives is now absent with gluten out of the diet. They were so used to their symptoms that they didn't even realize they were issues, let alone that those issues could have been working their way into something bigger if they hadn't given their body a break from gluten. Dun dun dun. So all them folks that was laughing at me for the years I had to go gluten-free, and now I have a bread that I do eat and it's not gluten-free, but I do prefer gluten-free. But just the fact that now I can eat gluten or regular bread, but it has like pasas, it has raisins and macadamia nuts in it, and it's like a smaller bread. So I don't know why it doesn't bother my stomach, but it doesn't, so I do eat it, but just not often. But yeah, it's cool because I really thought that I wasn't going to be able to eat like any of these things like gluten, dairy, sugar, soy, peanuts, and I have been able to eat them, and I still look and I feel great. So I'm really excited to getting into the cleanses. I haven't gotten to the cleanses yet, really. I've only just done the celery, I've done the cucumber, and the melon, the cantaloupe. And that's what I've been doing for a week or two now, where I just drink the lemon water in the morning, and then I have either celery or I have the cucumber, which I'm doing the cucumber this week. And then I do melon smoothie. And then I eat a meal around, like 2 or 3. It just depends. So, enjoy. Love yourself. Just try it. And like I said, we don't know what's true and what's not true, but you can find out what's true by experimenting with your own body. And help a friend by telling them what worked for you. Love yourself.